FPL is back, and you can find out who I'm looking at bringing into my team in this video. I'm going to start off then by looking at the goalkeeper and my defence. I'm going to start with Turner in goal this week. I've actually got Emiliano Martinez of Villa on my bench, but Nottingham Forest have not looked, horrendous defensively. And with Luton being their fixture compared to Villa having West Ham, I think the chances of Forest keeping a clean sheet are probably higher than Aston Villa. For that reason, I'm going with Turner at the moment. Udogie, Cash and Burn as my three defenders. I don't really think you can really beat that, to be honest, with the team value that I have at the moment. I can't get to Trippier. There's just no way I can do it. So I'm hoping Dan Burn can somewhat keep up with his points, although Trippier is the player that I'm really worried about at the moment. But with the way I've structured my team on my wild card, I just couldn't fit him in. Hopeful that Udogie gets some attacking returns against Fulham. He is slightly cheaper than Porro. Well, certainly in my team anyway. I bought for 4.5 million, so there was just no justification to get rid of him when I'm wildcarding. Cash has got the best expected goal involvement of any defender in the Premier League, so I'm happy to go with him. Dan Burn has definitely picked things up in terms of goals this season. I'm hoping against Crystal Palace and Wolves he's got a chance of scoring from some set pieces. Let's see what happens. On now to my midfield, and you'll notice one kind of glaring omission from most teams you're probably looking at on YouTube this week, and I don't have Heung-min Son. Now, I wildcarded last week and deliberately left him out because I had just a little doubt in my mind about his injury, basically. He's been carrying that injury what looks like pretty much all season, and yes, he's been scoring goals with that injury, but doesn't seem to have been getting any better, and I think it's being treated with injections and painkillers, to be honest. We saw against Vietnam when he played for South Korea, he hobbled off, not looking great at half time, and just got a feeling that injury is going to restrict him from playing to his full potential, and the only way it's going to come back is really if he takes some time on the sidelines, and obviously that doesn't make him a very good FPL option if he's not playing. So I've gone for Maddison as my Spurs midfielder. He's the focal point, in my opinion, of everything that Spurs are doing at the moment. Doesn't have the best injury record in the world, but at the moment he looks to be playing completely freely and injury-free. Salah, I don't really need to say too much more than Salah. You could have Diaz or Darwin Núñez to supplement him, but I just can't put my finger on whether they're going to play every game. For that reason, I've only got Salah from Liverpool. Bruno Fernandes, I actually picked him on my wild card. Kind of regretted that after game week 8, but he's got Sheffield United in game week 9. You couldn't really ask for much better in terms of fixtures. I do have a kind of transfer plan with him next week, which I'll get onto. Bowen and Neto as my other two midfielders. I'm happy with Bowen, really. I think across the season, he's going to play every game for West Ham. And he looks to be finding the form of a couple of seasons ago, where he scored pretty much every game. So I'm hopeful I can get 2 or 3 returns from the next 3 fixtures from him. Pedro Neto has been ticking along really nicely across this season. And at 5.7 million, there are other midfielders around that price point I could go to if his performances drop off. The likes of Anthony Gordon and Cole Palmer, who recently took a penalty for Chelsea. So I like having a player now at that price point in my midfield. I spoke about a transfer plan for this week, well, next week mainly. I don't think it's sensible to sell Bruno Fernandes ahead of playing Sheffield United. He's got some really good underlying numbers and has been creating chances at will for Man United. So I don't think you can suggest that he's a bad option, certainly for game week 9. So I'm going to stick with him, I think, for game week 9. Probably roll my transfer. But the main thing that I'm going to do in game week 10, I think, is bring in Bukayo Saka. Bruno Fernandes has Man City in game week 10, and Bukayo Saka has Sheffield United at home. So obviously that's a complete gulf in fixtures. I'm still a little bit hesitant as to the condition that Saka is in. I've got a feeling he plays in game week 9. I think the time he's had off during the international break will mean he's been able to heal that injury. But will he be 100% in game week 9? Not too sure. But come game week 10, I think he's going to be fully back. Yeah, and absolutely firing. He's obviously Arsenal's designated penalty taker, despite giving them away. So he's always got a chance of taking a penalty. And he's absolutely nailed on that right wing for Arsenal. There's no real competition for that spot, which I think is why Arteta was persisting, basically playing him through that injury that he had, and probably made it worse, to be honest. So for that reason, I think he's just one of the best FPL options in the game. And 8.5 million for the upside that he has. He's returned in every start that he's had. 0.94 expected returns per 90 is really, it's just ridiculous, to be honest. It's really, really good. So, yeah, I think Bruno to Saka will be my move. But this week, I think I'm going to roll, and I'll do that move in game week 10. On now to the forward line and the all-important captaincy decision for this game week. So I've gone for Haaland at the moment. I think in my gut, I believe that Haaland will outscore Salah this week. I just feel that Brighton are significantly worse defensively than Everton are. Both teams are at home. You know, Man City playing at the Etihad, Liverpool playing at Anfield respectively. So you can't really decide between it on those sort of parameters. Haaland's obviously on the penalties to Man City as well, so you can't choose between those two on that regard. So really, I think it is the quality of the opposition that they're facing. And yes, Brighton are obviously a better team, in my opinion, than Everton are. I think defensively, Everton could well edge it. But if you look at the Draft Hound expected points, Salah actually leads in that regard. So, you know, there's an argument for both ways. I'm going to go for Haaland, but I think there's definitely an argument to go for Salah. And as you can see here, the Draft Hound expected points algorithm is favouring Salah. And then just looking at that forward line, I've got Watkins as the other player that I've not spoken about. I'm really, really confident in him. I've had him since the start of the season, to be honest. I remained patient with him, obviously got rewarded in game week 8, so I'm really happy with that. And obviously really happy to own him for game week 9 and beyond. He dropped down to 7.9 million at one point. In the last week, he's gone up by 0.2. I expect that to continue just because of the quality of fixtures that he's got, basically. I think he's going to return consistently through those fixtures just because, well, they're quite easy. So I do expect that price to finally rise, well, some more. Hopefully I get some added team value because at the moment mine is not looking great. And just to show the team as a whole, here it is. So I've got Martinez on my bench. Obviously the decision between him and Turner is quite close. I might end up changing that as we get closer to the deadline, but right now I'm quite happy with that. Archer, I'm happy just to have him on my bench as a starting 4.5 million striker. I went for Kurt Zouma as my kind of bench defender. He could come in game week 10, but we'll see how we get on with that. I just really liked him because he might not have put up the best numbers yet this season, but with James Ward-Prowse on the free kicks and just the size and athleticism that Zouma has, I just always have a feeling he can score from a set piece. So yeah, I really like the thought of having him in. And then Charlie Taylor, don't need to speak about him. The cheapest starting player I could find when I hit the wildcard button. So yeah, I'm quite happy just to have 4 players that play on my bench basically for kind of the cheapest prices you can go for. 69.6 expected points in game week 9. I'd be happy with 70 points, to be honest. That's what it rounds up to. 70 points in game week 9, I'd happily take it. Let me know in the comments if you think I should do anything with my team that I haven't mentioned. Alright, and that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that. I just have to provide a bit of proof of my rank as well because I put it in the title of this video, so here it is. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like rating, subscribe to the Golden Goal channel, which should be just there, and let me know in the comments if I need to make any changes to my team.